What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. And with that being said, man, I'm going to talk about a statement that Rich Paul made. He was having a discussion with what's the guy named Max Kellerman, and they were talking about Mike, Kobe, and LeBron, like which one you would take. Now, Rich Paul just said Kobe. He thinks that Kobe is number three on his all-time great, behind Mike and LeBron. Now, now with his recent statements, Rich Paul's saying like he's kind of walking back, like Mike. LeBron being a GOAT. He's trying to walk that back because now he's saying that if Kobe is number three, then he's comfortable with taking either one of those guys at number one, Mike or LeBron. He said now if he's starting a team, he would take LeBron James. If he's starting a team, he'll take LeBron James bar none. He said, but if he wants somebody to take the last shot in the game, he's going to take Mike. Which I never heard anybody like that. Argument is silly. That's just like me saying that if I want somebody to shoot free throws, I'm gonna use Steve Kerr over Michael Jordan. Like people, they try to qualify their answers and break their answers down. Okay, I think Steve Kerr probably shot around like close to 90%. Like him and Steph Curry, when it comes to free throws, rarely miss a free throw. But Mike was just so good at everything he did in basketball. Like whatever, like if Mike probably shot in the 80s with the free throws, Steve Kerr shot in the 90s. So whatever the difference was between Mike and Steve Kerr when it came to free throws, you wouldn't even consider taking Steve Kerr over Mike for nothing because Mike, his good so far outweighed whatever everybody else brought to the table. Was like, man, if Mike only shooting 85 and Steve Kerr shooting 90 or 95, still give me Mike because Mike made this so much, the distance between Mike and everybody else. That argument that I'm gonna play, and I'm gonna play the audio, like the argument that Rich Paul make, don't you know what I mean? It's just senseless. And the more he talk about basketball, just I'm starting to wonder, like, do he even watch basketball? He just make himself sound so I don't know, like I said, he make himself sound like he don't know what he talking about when it comes to basketball. So let me play what Rich Paul said.
There's always someone who's going to say, oh, what about Kobe? In other words, he has to be considered among the top three of all time. And then there are other people who say he's not even top 10.
Well, that's ridiculous.
By the way, I don't know that I don't know that either position is ridiculous.
What? First of all, hold on.
Yeah.
Saying Kobe Bryant is not in the top 10 is ridiculous.
Well, I mean, I could name players for whom there are arguments against Kobe. Where do you have Kobe ranked?
I have Kobe ranked in my top 3.
For you, it's LeBron, MJ, Kobe?
No, it's whoever you take, give me the other guy. If you take LeBron, great, I'll take Mike or Kobe. If I'm starting a basketball team, I'm taking LeBron number 1 overall. Mm-hmm. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
That's how I feel about MJ.
Yes. If I want the single last shot, I'm taking Michael Jordan.
Right.
No question about it. When it comes to Kobe, again, I could do either one.
All right, so he said, he said if he wants somebody to take the single last shot, he gonna pick Mike. Like that's almost like saying like Mike is Ray Allen or somebody, like the shot that Ray Allen hit for Miami that year that they won. I think they beat the Spurs that year. I'm not sure. I think it was the Spurs that year when Ray Allen hit that shot, right? Mike, Mike won 6 championships. And none of those 6 championships came down to like a final. None of those 6 championships came down to like a final shot. As a matter of fact, none of those 6 championships that Mike won even went to a game 7. So that's like, what would be you gonna pick LeBron? You gonna pick Mike because he clutch. Mike is clutch. Regular season coming down the stretch. Mike was clutch coming down like regular season. He was, he was clutch. But if it's not going to be a game 7 because Mike not letting it go get 7 games, why would you even need him to be clutch? Mike was just dominant. So why wouldn't you want somebody that's dominant? I don't know, Kobe. When you talk about Kobe as compared to LeBron James, again, coming down the stretch, Kobe was a little bit more clutch than what LeBron was. Like, Kobe did miss a lot of shots coming down the stretch, but I'm taking Kobe too with that killer instinct, man. I'm just taking Kobe ahead of LeBron. I'm taking Mike ahead of LeBron, but Rich Paul tries to double talk like he's not talking to people who knows about basketball. If I want the final shot, I'm taking Mike. That's just something goofy that people say. Now, let's say, the final shot, that because Mike did hit, what was the guy? Steve Kerr. He passed the ball to Steve Kerr, and, in big games, and Steve Kerr was able to knock down some wide open shots, right? He did the same thing with the guy Paxson, right? Michael drew a double team and hit the wide open guy Paxson, and they knocked the shot down. So Mike proved that he can not only make the right decision in the clutch, he can hit the shot in the clutch, but it's not even most of the time. It's not even like, if the game matter, if the series matter, it's not even going to come down to a last shot. Like Mike won 6 championships, and none of them went 7 games. I don't know what this, like, historically, that is just crazy. And he was undefeated in championships. You're gonna tell me if I start a team, I'm starting with? I wish, that like it was possible for this scenario to play out just so we could see this guy eat his words and go with Michael Jordan. Everybody would be like, nah, this guy Mike never went 7 games. And here we are talking about, I'm gonna take, if I'm starting from the bottom, I'm definitely taking LeBron. Man, it's a whole lot of guys that have played in the league that I would take before LeBron James. And that's just, that's just the way it is, because LeBron James is just not clutch. He lost, he lost in championships way more than Kobe. He lost more championships than Mike lost. So how in the world you say, if I'm starting a team, I got to take LeBron? Like, but he never, and then on top of that, give me a reason why you're going to take LeBron. If you starting a team, he's going to be your first overall pick. I just want to know, like, what is it about LeBron? Like, what do LeBron James bring to the table where you say, all right, I gotta have LeBron over Mike, or I gotta take LeBron over Kobe, because LeBron is, he is so dominant in this and he's so dominant at that. He sets himself apart. I gotta take LeBron first over Mike and Kobe. But then he's gonna qualify and say, oh yeah, if you want the last shot, man, it don't even, with Mike, it didn't even come down to the last shot. It just didn't. It wasn't no game 7s. He didn't need Ray Allen to hit, to knock down a shot, a miracle 3-pointer with time running down. He didn't need Ray Allen to do that. Mike beat some serious guys to get, he beat, let me see. He beat the Lakers. He beat Karl Malone and the Jazz. Who else did he beat? He beat, let me see. He beat Phoenix when they had Thunder Dan and Charles Barkley. He beat Seattle, and they beat Utah 2 times. That's just crazy. And all those guys had some ballers on there, and nobody could get Mike in championship play to go 7 games. I think the Knicks, they went 7 games with the Knicks. Once I'm sure of, maybe 2 times. The Knicks used to give them That used to be, as a matter of fact, the Knicks used to be their toughest series. Like anytime Mike made it out of the East, he just blew through the West. That's why a lot of people wanted to see Mike go up against the Houston Rockets. Like they wish that the Houston Rockets and Hakeem Olajuwon had made it. You know, like if Mike had not retired that year when when the Houston Rockets repeated those 2 years that Mike wasn't around. But other than that, man, Mike was dominant. And so why wouldn't you pick a person that was dominant, that had no flaws? Mike had no flaws in his game. So no way you're going to pick anybody to shoot a free throw over Mike. You're not going to pick nobody. Like, it's not no situational ball. You're going to call a timeout and take Mike off the court on defense. You didn't have to do that. Man, Mike was dominant. He just was dominant. And so I would have loved for Rich Paul to give an excuse for, like, well, why are you, like, what is your thinking? What's your rationale for saying that, all right, if I'm starting a team, I'm gonna take LeBron? Maybe he would have said, well, LeBron could play multiple positions, something like that. But Mike he was dominant. He just was dominant. And you can't even get Mike to a game 7. Nobody was able to take this guy to a game 7 in championship play. That's just crazy. So that's my take on it. Like I said, the more this guy talk about basketball, the more he exposed himself, and just let everybody know that he don't know what he talking about. Or he think that people don't know what, we don't know about basketball. I don't get it. I just don't get it. So that's my take on it. Make sure to like, subscribe to the channel. And with that being said, man, I'm going to check y'all out in the next video. Peace.